Hi guys, it is either welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Kiosha. I'm a lawyer that doesn't practice. I'm a mid-level government bureaucrat, and I'm just someone who moonlights in creativity. And today we're going to be talking about the dumpster fire that is, or that was part one of the reunion for Married at First Sight Houston. So many things happened, particularly towards the end of the episode, where I'm honestly, I was just completely stressed. So I don't want this to be too long. I'm gonna aim for 30 minutes. Since there's another part, I'm gonna aim for 30 minutes and try to get through, what wasn't as important pretty quickly. And then, the meat and the potatoes, we might spend a little bit of time there. Okay, so it opens up, what's the guy's name? I think Kevin something was the host. He's always the host. And so the reunion takes place 4 months after decision day, okay? So we see Rachel and Jose. Rachel looks, I thought she looked nice. I thought Jose looked really nice. Everybody looked really nice, by the way. But yeah, it opened up with Rachel and Jose. That lime color on her, I just thought it was so cute. And so they do the whole pomp and circumstance, right? Rachel, again, as always, basically says she got everything that she wanted. She got the personality, she got the looks in Jose, right? And then, he goes and he spews the same pomp and circumstance. And they start talking about the lockout situation. There's still really no accountability there. He, to this day, was kind of like, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. Kevin kind of got him at one point to be like, okay, I did lock the door on purpose, but I locked the door because I thought she was gone for the night. I didn't think she was coming back. And it's just like, in this whole thing, there has been no accountability. If I accidentally lock somebody out of the house, and this is just straight up, if I accidentally lock somebody out of the house, I would be so apologetic. I would feel like a piece of shit. Every chance that I got, I would be trying to apologize. Every time the camera shows on Jose and the situation comes up, he's, oh well, yeah, I didn't do it on purpose. So that was really annoying. And then Rachel's perspective was, yeah, she thought the lockout was intentional. But also that Jose probably assumed that she would have slept with one of the other girls or at one of the other girls' houses. And it's like, how interesting of you to assume that, way past midnight. But okay. They flash back to the next day when Rachel tried to talk to him after he locked her out, and him just essentially being a brick wall. And he did admit, like, at that point that he was being passive aggressive. Duh. Like, it's so crazy. Like, are you not embarrassed? Like, you watched yourself back while we watched this season. Are you not embarrassed? I don't know. The big question comes. Kevin asked them if they are still together, and they had broken up. Now I'm going to insert a clip from my last video where I said I gave them a year. No, I give them maybe 2 years, if they lasted that long. They did not last that long, but I called it. So yeah, they broke up. Apparently they're working on things. I don't necessarily know what that means because they didn't give too much, but she's living back with her mom, so she completely moved out. They moved in together initially. She completely moved out. She's living with her mom now. And I think he's trying to get her back. Like, they're in those stages where they're talking on the phone. They might be going on dates and stuff like that. And basically what happened was they moved in, and what did he do? It's just himself. Jose, who Jose is, perfectionist, a picker. And basically he was just picking at her and all of her stuff, like, when are you gonna unpack, when are you gonna move this, da 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 da. And it just became a lot for her. And I guess when the cameras left and reality set in and things kind of became monotonous, I don't know, Rachel said, fuck this, and she left. You know, I don't know. Do I think they're gonna get back together? They might try it again, right? They might try it again, but Jose is always gonna be Jose. Jose doesn't seem like the type of, like, let's compare people, right? Michaela is insane. We've seen it. But Michaela, on this episode, she admitted that her behavior was over the top. She admitted it. Every time it came up, yeah, it was over the top. It's definitely something that I'm working on, right? Jose, let's compare the two. I've admitted I have issues, I need to work on them. Let's go to Jose, where none of that has really taken place. And so I think if they do get back together, another issue is going to arise where Jose is just being Jose, and Rachel's gonna be like, well, peace out. And let's go to Brett and Ryan. And you could tell there's really no bad blood between them. You know, it's kind of like this awkward high five thing, but whatever. They kind of rehashed everything, how Brett felt like he wasn't being honest and he wasn't communicating, and then how Ryan, like he always is, yeah, I could have done a better job, I should have done a better job, Brett's a great girl. It's like that script, it's been scripted for every episode of the season. Yeah, I should have done better, I should have communicated, I could have done a better job. Brett is a great woman, you know. And so they asked Brett kind of what she learned about herself, and she said she learned that she's more open-minded than she thought she would be, like when it comes to type and dealing with certain people, and I guess what she's used to dealing with. She says she found out by dealing with Ryan that she could actually open up her dating pool a bit and just about make it work with anybody. What did Ryan learn? That he should communicate more. But you know what I'm saying? We knew that already. I don't know what it is about Ryan that burns my grits, but yeah. Ryan's sister showed up, and initially I was like, why the fuck are you here? Like, why are you here? Why are they doing this? Even when they showed Michaela's sister in the preview, it's like, why are you here? But his sister showed up and she brought some good stuff. So apparently the sister is saying, or the sister said that Ryan met someone during filming. She exchanged Ryan. Brett met someone during filming. She exchanged numbers with this man and they began some sort of relationship. Brett completely denied this initially. Completely denied it. And then her sister was like, or Ryan's sister was like, so you did not meet a man during filming and exchange numbers? And so she was like, yes, I did. And when you exchanged numbers, did you guys not talk back and forth? And it was like, well, yes, I did. And so with that exchange, that back and forth, what that let me know is the fact that Brett wasn't forthcoming initially. To me, you know, she's lying. If she lied about those first two things, that she did beat someone and that she did exchange numbers and that they have been chatting, or they had been chatting, you have invalidated everything in my eyes. So I tend to lean towards believing the sister and Ryan, because the sister was like, I've seen pages of text messages, and Ryan confirmed that, right? So it becomes this really interesting thing, because the whole season I've been, you know, rolling for Brett, right? And it's like, she caught him on the app, she confronted him, and it's just kind of one of those things where, why did you do that if you were doing the same thing? Like, if you were also checked out, you know, what are we doing? Why are we trying to paint this man out to be the bad guy? And, you know, maybe he was, but two things can be true. Maybe she was also, because at any point in time in filming, she was married. They made it seem like it was maybe the beginning or halfway through. So she was completely married. She exchanged numbers with a man. started communicating with him, started coming home late. Okay? So it's just like, you know, I still like Brett, but, you know, stand up in it. Be a woman about it. If you out here like that, you know, cop up, own up to it. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just give Ryan all this heat when you were out here doing the same thing, honey. You were out here being just as scandalous, and honestly, even more scandalous, because you were actually talking and entertaining and boom, 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 boom. Ryan just, you know, downloaded the app and it just happened to be active. So there's that. That was basically it for them. Like, they asked, you know, Ryan if he's ready for marriage, and he was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm ready, just with the right person. And so, okay, maybe he is. I don't think he is, but maybe he is. And so that's them. And now let's move on to Myrla and Gil. And this is where things really start to get kind of spicy, right? So now I said this before anything, because it took them about 5 minutes to announce the decision that they had made. I said her body language is very different. Her body language is different. They must not be together. And I swear to you, I tweeted it out. Insert the tweet somewhere. I literally tweeted it before it came out that they weren't together. I was like, that body language is off. I don't think they're together. So that's how it started out. Kevin asked if Myrla was bothered by Gil, how he constantly picked with her and made fun of her. And she did say that it did bother her. And, you know, rightfully so. Like, yes, I might be a certain way, but you're not going to keep picking on me or trying to tear me down to bring me down to your level. I don't know. So I could see that. I could see how that bothered her. And she also said she had never had anybody else describe her as a diva or high maintenance. And Gil brought up a really good point. He was like, well, if you're also talking to people who move kind of the same way as you, then they wouldn't really call you a diva or high maintenance. And so there was a clip from the honeymoon that didn't make the show where Gil surprised Myrla with a massage, and it was just really cringy and uncomfortable to watch. Now, I have made quite a few videos on this couple, and maybe the first 4 or 5, it might have been 6. You can just tell when someone is into someone, particularly a woman. You can tell. And Myrla's body language, what she said, how she spoke about Gil to Gil, screamed that she wasn't into him. Period, point blank. Maybe I'll find a clip of video of me literally saying, Myrla's not into Gil. So it comes out that they are not together. Basically 14 days after decision day, Myrla went to Gil and she was like, you know, this isn't what I want. I'm not happy. We need to break up. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing. And so Gil felt blindsided, and from how it was described, I would have also felt blindsided. And this is kind of where we get into my view on Myrla shifting. I thought she was cool. I just thought she was a straight shooter and just someone who didn't sugarcoat. She's going to tell you how it is. Yes, she may have complained a bit, but as far as like people to hang around, somebody who's going to be honest with you, she gave that, right? Until I saw this, right? And so all along, it turns out that Myrla was a super spy villain in disguise. And she's not a villain because she's not attracted to Gil. That's not why I'm calling her a villain. I'm calling her a villain because she knew from the beginning that she was not attracted to that man. She knew she was not into that man. But she continued to progress in the relationship. She continued to tell him that, you know, I'm going to choose to love you. She continued to, you know, progress. She gave him a kiss, right? They progressed from kissing to touching to cuddling and then eventually to sex. She said yes on decision day. And so that's why she's the villain. You are such an honest person and such a straight shooter with everything else. Why couldn't you tell this man, a man that you knew, you know, was an emotional guy and pretty in touch with his feelings with regards to romantic relationships, it seems. Why didn't you tell him? Why weren't you honest with him? That's what makes you a villain. It definitely gave me a really bad taste in my mouth. And the bad taste continued to sour towards the end of the episode, but we're not there yet. And basically she said that the chemistry wasn't there. The finances thing started weighing on her. And an interesting point was Gil brought up the fact, he said something about, well, his paychecks actually have maybe $100 more than each of her paychecks. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But still, whatever the disconnect was, finances, whatever you could see the chemistry. You could see she didn't have any chemistry towards him in the beginning. I think maybe somewhere in the middle she decided, okay, let me play along. And you started to see things change because Gil was like, if you don't show me warmth, I'm gonna say no. I don't know, maybe she wanted to save face. Maybe she did really want to try to make it work. But also, while really trying to make it work, you could have told him, like, listen, I'm not as into this as maybe I should be, or maybe what you would prefer. I'm going to try to give it my all, but, you know, I'm not necessarily attracted to you and I don't feel chemistry with you. But aside from that, they set us up for a reason. I'm going to try. If she had set that expectation straight up, laid it out, I wouldn't be calling her a villain. But the fact that she didn't, here we are. And so that was basically Gil's issue. If you felt like this from the beginning, why didn't you say anything? Why did you let this progress this far? He said he basically sold everything in his house to go and move and be with Myrla for this to happen. Like I said, you can change your mind. You cannot be in love with someone. You know, you can change your mind. But how she did it, it was dirty. It was dirty. And you could tell he's super hurt. I would have also been really hurt because he really was the glue in that relationship. He really was the person who was patient and really tried to make it work. And, you know, honestly, she just kind of shitted on him. Like I said, you can change your mind. You can say that you don't want to be with someone, but how she played it is what was grimy. I don't like seeing people's feelings hurt. I don't know if y'all remember my review where Johnny told Bao that he would have rather have been married to anybody else but her. And it was, you know, you could just feel her heart breaking and it made me tear. I don't like seeing people's feelings hurt. I didn't tear up with Gil, but it definitely pulled at my heartstrings. Kevin asked, was there ever a time that you were in love with Gil? And Myrla straight up was like, no. And, you know, I told him that. She was like, I kept saying that I'm going to choose love and this and that. But it's like, no, you didn't say that you were. She did not straight up say that she wasn't in love with Gil. Not towards the end. She said, I have chosen to love my husband. Those are two different things. You're a villain. You are a villain. You're a mean girl. And, you know, now we're really starting to get down to it. Because I'm pretty honest with people. I may have been called blunt in the past, but I've softened, you know, my delivery these days. And if I'm not into somebody, I let them know. You know what I'm saying? It was foul. She was foul. And so basically, Ice Queen up there, cold as hell. Nope, I never loved him. Okay. Oh my God. So to kind of wrap that up, it definitely changed my perspective of her, and she is pretty much on my shit list. As far as Gil is concerned, you could just tell he felt like his heart had been ripped out. He said he hadn't started healing and all this, and I get it. All of this just happened. It was really soon. For Gil, I hope that he takes some time to, figure it out, work on his insecurities, especially this new one that has popped up, and, see a therapist, work it out. And once you're done, there are going to be women lined up, knocking each other over, trying to get with Gil. And he'll have to make the choice and, wade through the crowd of who he wants to be with. He just has to get through this really hard part of like being heartbroken, which sucks and can last for years. But I wish him the best. Now let's get to all the men sitting down and talking with Kevin. So they opened up basically just talking about all of Zach's crying, how every other scene or every other couple of minutes he was crying very hot and cold, happy one second, crying the next. This stuff has these past 2 or 3 episodes, I think Michaela is insane. Of course. I think she was abusive to him, right? I also think, because 2 things can be true. I also think Zach is a fuckboy. He's given very much fuckboy. Very hot and cold. Super mixed signals. I don't want to be with you, but come to my house and come to sleep with me. I don't want to be with you, but come to and stay at my house for 7 days and cook and clean and sex me all up and down. It's one of those things. This isn't some fling. You're married to this girl. There's feelings involved. You're gonna have to pick a struggle. So, but that's that. They started out with all his crying. They talked about how Johnny just constantly walked out of situations. They talked about how Gil was the only one that never left a situation when things got heated. He always tried to work through them. And they really made a big thing of like his patience this season. They played a montage of him having to deal with Myrla, and he really did have the patience of Job. He really did. Apparently everybody was shocked when they found out that Myrla ended things with Gil, because most people said they thought that they were really solid. Zach was asked, how does he feel about marriage going forward? And he basically said he's relaxed his requirements for marriage. So I don't know what that means. I'm very confused by him. Like I said, especially these past couple of episodes. I don't think that he's ready for marriage with anyone because he is a child. Anytime things don't go his way, he shuts down. Completely shuts down. He cannot function. Don't get me wrong, I had to be a lot dealing with Michaela, but Zach is something different. But I said I was going to keep going through. Let me go through. I think everybody was pretty surprised when they heard that Rachel and Jose had broken up. Zach said he wasn't surprised, but that he was more surprised that they were working on getting back together. I said, And who said this? Johnny said Myrla really liked Rachel being single. So he insinuated that Myrla was kind of in Rachel's ear, kind of egging her on to break up. I don't know. And I'd love to see that. If they can confirm it, I'd love to see it. I don't know. And then they talked about the bromance between Johnny and Jose. The bromance between Johnny and Jose, and I'm gonna leave that there. And now we get to Michaela and Zach. And apparently Michaela did not want to be on the stage with Zach. I guess in this, 4 months, she's really had some time to sit back and reflect. And she did not want to share the stage with him. And after what we saw and heard, I don't blame her. She did say, like I said, she said that she needs to manage her impulsive behavior. And And she also said, you know, the moment that she had her big blow up, that he had given up and that she could feel that. And I mean, that's the truth. That is the truth. He did completely shut down when she lost her mind. And you could tell that she could never pull him back in after that. Mainly because he, like I said, he had shut down. He was over it. That's it. And she also said she felt like Zach was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. So it had to be an immense amount of pressure knowing that you did have this big blow up and then kind of trying to walk on eggshells to control it, particularly when you don't know how to control it. And it didn't seem like she had worked on any of that. It just seemed raw emotion. So I could see how she was nervous. I could see that. I've said this plenty. If this is your first time watching me, that girl needs help. She needs intense psychiatric care, possibly medication. She needs help. So anytime I talk about her, anytime I humanize her, it's still within the context of her being a Looney Tune that needs some serious medical attention. They asked her if Zach was playing with her emotions, and she said, absolutely, he played me. He absolutely did. And Zach was backstage losing his mind. And it's like, but you did play her. But you did. You did. Granted, he told her he didn't want to be married at the ranch. He did. And then they had a conversation when they got home. He didn't want to stay married. And then he told her no twice at decision day. So yes, she could have at any point decided, I'm not doing this with you, right? She could have pulled away. But you know, I do think she was in love. And I think people do stupid shit when they're in love, including not really having their own best interests in the forefront. Michaela said like they had been hooking up at certain points, and she said that Zach asked her to keep their intimacy secret, and that just seems like a wild thing to make up. And she said that he also said that if she brought it up that he would deny it. And y'all, I don't think she was lying. I do think Zach wanted her to keep their goings and comings between them because he's a fuck boy. He is a fuck boy, and he didn't want the world to see him moving as a fuck boy. It makes sense. So yeah, after decision day, they went to dinner. He asked her to come back to the crib, and they got down with the get down. And it's like I said, she could have walked away at any moment. But these are mixed signals. You literally cannot have your cake and eat it too. And when you do, problems occur. Like what happened? You know what I'm saying? So I'm over him. I'm over him. Then Zach comes on. You know, where did things go wrong? That's what he was asked. And he said the first time that she moved out was when he got nervous. And he also said it was a unique experience that he never wants to do again. And he also said that she thinks that he wants to make her look bad. But he said that's not the case. I just wanted you to take some accountability. And it's like, well, I could say the same thing for you. She looked bad enough, like that was on national television, right? Now, she could have taken accountability, especially when that stuff was going down and she acted like none of it had happened. But you also, my friend, like, you're a flop, you're a flake, you're a flip-flopper. Could you take some accountability on that front? And he said it's the worst relationship he had ever been in. And I literally wrote, let me write what I wrote. What the fuck is wrong with Zach? He is confused as shit. Or maybe I'm confused as shit. You can't say you want a divorce, but you also want to work on building a relationship. He definitely gave her mixed signals. I don't know which way is up with this man. Because Zach called himself getting an attitude with the host because the host had the same dilemma as me. You can't say that you want a divorce and still want to work it out. You may have found a way to work with semantics and to play with words and to say, well, I could have a relationship with anybody, a relationship with the person down the street. That's not what you meant. That's not what you meant. Because if you meant just having a friendly relationship with Michaela, you would have said that, and then you would not have continued to sleep with her and had her cooking for you and cleaning up your house. Words mean things, and so do fucking actions, okay? I can't stand him. He has also been added to my shit list permanently. I hate the guys that, like, you know, if you're gonna be it, be it. If you're gonna be a fuckboy, be a fuckboy. But I hate the ones that try to act like, oh my God, I'm a nice guy, Mr. Nice Guy. Look at me, I'm so nice. And they're the worst of all. They're the worst of all. So what do I have to say about this? I'm really ready for part 2. We had a flash forward that basically insinuated that Myrla and Johnny are together. I tweeted about that too. I tweeted when the guy sat down, I said, why does Johnny keep mentioning that him and Myrla are really good friends? Why is that happening? But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on the next episode. If you watched the entire video, if you made it all the way through, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.